Behind every Superman and Batman, there's an even greater Wonder Woman. I'm Sasha Pearl Raver, and this is Screen Junkies News. The social media embargo is up on Wonder Woman, the newest film in the DCEU, and the word on the digital street is that it's great. Wonder Woman is a great film. I mean, let's just pause. I want us to all just take that in and just, God, it feels really good. Okay. The film opens up in just 2 weeks, and people who have seen it are speaking very positively about it. Here with me to celebrate all the wonders of Princess Diana are Jay Washington and Mary Risk. You guys, so this has been a roller coaster.
Yes.
There have been ups, there have been downs. There were reports very early that this was sort of a mess. There were reports later that they were fixing those messy things. They did a trip to the editing room over in London. Yeah. And I have some friends who saw it about 3 weeks ago, and all of them said they wept that it's the best movie in the DCEU. Then I spoke with people about a week ago who got to see it, and everybody said, this is amazing. And now Twitter is blowing up. Across the board, every single person is saying this is the best film the DCEU has put out. They are saying, people like Andrew Dice at Screen Rant, embargo lifted, so I can say unequivocally that Patty Jenkins delivered a true Wonder Woman story in more ways than I honestly hoped. Eric Eisenberg, friend of the show, said it's the best DCEU film so far. The heart of Gal Gadot's Diana powers it, and the shift from Mythic into World War I story really works. Kate Eberlin from IndieWire says easily my favorite DCEU film, has heart and humor the franchise so desperately needs. Gadot and Pine are charming as hell. Silas Lesnick said, very pleased to report it's the best DC film since The Dark Knight.
That's the one. That's one of the ones I like the most because The Dark Knight was the bar for a lot of films.
That's true.
The Dark Knight was that bar. Like if you can get up to that performance level, you've got a film.
Well, and I feel like they're calling out really good specifics of what's working in the movie.
Yes.
You know, obviously Chris Pine, Gal Gadot, great cast. Patty Jenkins, great director. It's awesome to hear that the chemistry of all of them together is coming through, though, and that you are getting that heart from the movie. You are getting that humor. You know, I think a lot of that comes from who you're working with and how you're working with them.
Eric Davis from Fandango said Wonder Woman is great. My favorite of the recent DC films. It's fierce, funny, well written, and badass. Gal Gadot owns it. Her lasso for the win.
Yes.
This is, I mean, across the board, just every single person I know. I mean, people were so excited to talk about it. Mark Andreyko, who we are lucky enough to have come on the show quite a bit, has not been able to talk about it. And he was walking around the office earlier this week, and he was like, I can't say anything, but okay, I can say something. It's amazing. It's so incredible. He was so excited.
I saw him last week, and he was doing the same thing. He was like, everybody's like, Mark, what did you think? He was like, you can tell somebody who's just burst. They want it's
he
building.
wanted
They want to say it.
And when you want something to be good, and then it is, it's all that more rewarding.
Well, this was that movie that everybody kept saying it has to be good.
Has to.
It needs to be good. You want it to be good. Mm-hmm. You want it because, again, historically, the first female superhero-driven film. You want this movie to be great. You don't want this movie to be average.
I mean, it's been a very long time since we've even had a female-driven superhero story. I mean, Elektra was what, 12 years ago? It was a long time.
Yes.
And I know we had the Supergirl movie like in the 1980s, but this is the first time you're really getting that blockbuster treatment.
Yes, that's what I should say.
You're seeing the whole team behind it. You're seeing, tentpole. It's like a female tentpole movie with superheroes and period piece. Like I understand there were some risks here, and I'm glad they're paying off.
Like Lucy was a success, Luc Besson's Lucy, but that was sort of a sleeper hit. The fact that it crossed over $100 million, nobody expected. Mm-hmm. And then people are like, oh, wow, look at, you throw Scarlett Johansson and now let's have her do the Ghost in the Shell. I mean, there's choices. There's all choices. But with this, what we kept saying was Patty Jenkins didn't have to make a good movie. She had to make a great movie. Yeah. She has. And now, what do you think this is going to do for the DCEU?
Great things.
Well, I already know she's looking forward to the sequel.
Yep,
because every time they talk to Patty Jenkins about the film, she'll say Wonder Woman 1. Wonder Woman 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
So she keeps saying it as in, I'm doing a sequel to this. And again, when back, like you said, the editing bay, when they went back in London and she was like, look, let's fix this, let's do this, let's change this, let's add this here and that there. She knew what she wanted to make and what she had to make. Yeah. Because those are differences.
Yeah.
You have directors who want to make their own film all the time. That they're a director, they have their own creative vision, their own artistic integrity. But she knew she had such a high standard to hold to with Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
yeah.
This is the first time Wonder Woman gets her own solo film, a blockbuster film, tentpole film, like you said, and to make it every critic says, I can't say anything bad about this.
Oh, yeah. Well, and also Gal Gadot, I will admit, I felt nervous about because I didn't like her very much in the Fast and Furious franchise. This is like the part she was born to play.
But she stole the show in Batman v Superman.
She did, absolutely.
She stole the show in it. So I wasn't worried about her as the role of Wonder Woman in this. It was just, okay, we know how she plays the hero, but we have to see how Diana is born as a little girl, her coming up in Themyscira, her first introduction to Chris Pine's character, to finally meeting the man.
Well, but before we even get there, again, this isn't really a spoiler because this is just like hearsay from people that I've talked to, but women that I've talked to say that the first fight sequence on Themyscira is like every single woman I know has cried. Every woman I know has cried because they said they didn't realize that they needed to see that, but they needed to see that. And that's something that Patty Jenkins has talked about. Like, she wanted this to be a Superman. She wanted this to be a hero for everyone, but it really is connecting with women. Mm-hmm. And for me, like, I'm talking about it and I'm getting the chills. I mean, Mary, are you excited?
I mean, of course I'm excited. And I think part of the reason I'm so excited is because it's connecting with women in a universal way. I think there was a lot of fear, and I know for me, like, when I very first heard, like, oh, Wonder Woman's getting a movie, I was like, oh God, like, I hope they don't like put her in like a princess dress and like, I didn't want it to be like, oh, we're making this for girls. Like, I feel like it was made for everybody. And I feel like the fact that she's a woman and it's a female story isn't really that huge of a part of it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It makes it universal, and it makes, what you were saying with that fight scene, that you don't see fight scenes all the time with lots and lots of women like epically battling.
I can't think of a single one. Like, name me one fight sequence where it's like Sucker Punch is what I'm going back to.
Punch.
And that was disappointing.
There are some good like femme fatale fight sequences. You have a lot of like, I think of like one-on-one female fight sequences.
But like this is a battle scene with all women,
and it's
which is like,
and you think about like battle scenes before are generally all men. Yeah. So it's a fun thing to see, and I'm sure there will be, obviously some of both. You've definitely got some dudes hanging in there on the other side.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool to see something we've never seen before. Especially at this time where, everything's getting rebooted, everything's getting remade. This is actually going to be something we haven't seen.
Which is crazy.
But
and
also
super exciting.
We should have probably been seeing this, but now that we've seen it, there's no reason why we should not see it again and see it more and more and more.
Well, and the other thing, I mean, we're talking about like what this is going to do for the DCEU, and what I really hope is that there has been an inconsistent storytelling style.
Yes.
And what they needed was a solid voice. And I'm like, what if Patty Jenkins is that voice? What if she's the voice that like sets the tone?
Well, and she's
which would be cool.
The thing that I love about Patty Jenkins is it's kind of what you're saying earlier, is that she went through and made sure every single detail of this movie was great. Not good, not possible, not, oh yeah, we made a movie. No, she made sure it was great.
Yeah.
And I think the DCEU needs that.
The only concern I have, and it's not with Wonder Woman, it's moving forward, because Justice League is its own film. Mm-hmm. That's its own film, its own theme, its own director, and Zack Snyder, and it's pretty much being done. It's almost done, few reshoots. So we can't expect Justice League to look exactly like Wonder Woman. It just would be...
Well, that's already in the can, and Aquaman is pretty much done. But like, we talk so much about The Flash and like what's going to happen with the Flash movie. But like, next steps...
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This
After
could
that...
be really, really big. And also, we still have a lot of time before Justice League comes out. They could still do reshoots. They can re-edit. They can take the lessons they learn with Wonder Woman and go, oh, this is what's working.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
And
come with a cohesive, because the Marvel sort of has a cohesive voice.
Yep.
And I think the DCEU lacks that.
That definitely.
But maybe they won't lack it anymore.
Maybe this would be the beginning.
Maybe this is the beginning. Maybe this is their way in.
Yeah, it could be. So when we talk about this, it is impossible not to talk about like this being a female character. And we're going to get into a slightly touchy subject here, #SJW, which is feminism. And Gal Gadot spoke on it, and I think she spoke on it in such a wonderful way. She said, Wonder Woman is a feminist, of course. I think people have a misconception about what feminism is. People think hairy armpits and women who burn bras and hate men. That's not it. For me, feminism is all about equality and freedom and women choosing what they want to do. If it's salaries, then we get paid equal to men. It's not men versus women or women versus men. And honestly, it's nerve-wracking to bring up the word feminism in a place like this because it automatically inspires some vitriol. Mm-hmm. And I really do hope that people can see it's not about a fight. It's about just understanding like the word feminist should be equality. Like it's just a different word
It's
for
like girls
equality.
can play superheroes too.
That's the thing with this, and that's what this movie is. Let's be honest. If this was Superman, everybody would just be, well, it's Superman. We know what he does. He's truth, justice, in the American way, and blah, 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 blah. But then it's Wonder Woman, and you're going to have some people who have those negative connotations and think, oh, well, it's Wonder Woman. What about her? No, keep her at the same level, if not above, what Superman can do. Because again, in Batman v Superman, if it wasn't for her, they both, Batman and Superman, would have died. If it was not for her. Let's be honest.
And that musical cue is my favorite thing right now.
Great. It's great.
So this one, she's telling people it's about equality. It's not about, oh, one's better than the other, no matter how you spin it. It's equality. And that's what everything it should have been in the beginning. No one should have tried to put Wonder Woman on a pedestal saying, oh, well, because it's a female-driven superhero film, it needs to be this and a third. No, just let it be a good film.
Yes.
And we got a great film.
With a universal story.
With a universal story. Let it be that and be content and happy with that.
So we have talked on the show about what the possibilities are for box office. And with these reviews, do we think we will see a different box office outcome?
Absolutely.
Yes.
You don't have
It's going to go higher.
It's going to go, again, the initial prediction was what, 64, 65 million?
65.
Yeah.
65 million for opening weekend. I'm looking at this doing right about now with the pressure behind it to be such a great film. Again, I hate to bring it up again, a female-driven superhero film, a high blockbuster film. I'm looking at over 200 million close to. People will go see, you know why? Because now you have little girls who want to go see this more than once. And
really
parents are going to take their little girls, and little boys want to see it more than once. It's all about appeasing kids now. And when you have something like this, again, Superman back in the day for little boys was always, Daddy, let's go see Superman again. Let's go see Batman again. But now you've got little girls who have somebody they can really look up to.
And little boys who will be like,
yeah,
I want to do that too.
I'm not knocking it as well, but I'm just saying that everybody wanted that hero for their little daughter.
Sure.
They wanted that hero for their daughter.
But for their sons, I want you to go get your son a lasso.
Oh, yeah.
Go get your son a lasso.
But, get him a lasso as well.
And I think one of the great things about this movie actually is it does play into equality. You do have an amazing male character in Steve Trevor.
Yes, you do.
You're going to have, and they talk about even within the film, the feminism within the film is really interesting because obviously she comes from this land of women. She's never seen a dude before. They don't know what misogyny is. Like, that's not a thing for her.
No.
So she views herself just like 100% like, this is what I can do. These are my skills and I'm going to use them. And I think that's a cool message for anybody.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. One final quote from Uproxx. Mike Ryan said, loved Wonder Woman. She reminds me of Christopher Reeves' Superman. True North superhero with no angst or cynicism, which is needed right now.
Yes.
I personally cannot wait. I am seeing it in about 8 hours, 6.5 hours.
So
I'm bad
jealous.
at math.
Yeah,
And I have the chills. I can't
jealous.
wait. And we want to know, are you guys as excited as we are? And what do you expect from this Wonder Woman? Let us know in the comments below. You can tweet us at SJ News. Make sure to like and subscribe. And of course, you can always click here for more Screen Junkies news. See you soon.